Here's why women only want men who don't value them. Old Stoic wisdom. Love is not about possession. Love is about appreciation. Osho. Let's confront an uncomfortable reality that many men won't want to acknowledge. The more you pursue her, the further she seems to drift away. The more you expose your emotions and devotion, the less she seems to care. And when you place her on a pedestal, she starts looking for another man who keeps her guessing. If you've been the kind, respectful, loyal, and emotionally available man, only to end up being ghosted, overlooked, or trapped in the friend zone, then this message might challenge your current understanding of attraction. The truth is, modern dating doesn't always reward the good-hearted man. It tends to gravitate towards men who are emotionally distant, unpredictable, and a bit of a challenge. Let me clarify. This isn't about criticizing women or their choices. It's about understanding what truly sparks female attraction and why it often seems to operate in ways that defy common sense. The essence of attraction is more complex than just being nice. The ancient wisdom of Stoicism teaches us that value is often tied to scarcity and self-sufficiency, not emotional dependence or constant availability. 1. The irresistible truth, why chasing her only pushes her away. Here's a cold, hard fact: the more you chase her, the more she runs, the more you show her your heart, the quicker she pulls away. And the moment you start treating her like a queen, she begins searching for another kingdom. It sounds harsh, but if you're the kind of man who's tried being kind, respectful, loyal, and emotionally available only to be ghosted, ignored, or thrown into the friend zone, then this message will rattle your beliefs and maybe shake you to your core. Brace yourself. The world of modern dating doesn't reward the kind-hearted man. It rewards the man who is cold, distant, and unyielding, who has his own goals and his own life, not one that revolves around her. Let me be crystal clear. This is not a rant about women. It's not about blaming women for their preferences. This is about understanding the mechanics of attraction, the ancient principles that drive it, and why what you've been taught is so far from the truth. If you're a man who's always vulnerable, emotionally available, and constantly chasing affection, you need to wake up. The truth no one has the guts to tell you is this: women are not drawn to the man who worships them, who places them above all else, or who is willing to bend over backward just to keep their attention. Now, let's break it down. Women say they want respect and kindness, and most of them genuinely do. But when you give it to them too freely, without boundaries, without purpose, without self-respect, they don't perceive it as something valuable. Instead, they see weakness, plain and simple. You're handing them your emotional availability on a silver platter, expecting them to cherish it. But here's the problem: without the foundation of your own strength, your own life, your own purpose, that kindness doesn't register as a virtue. It registers as a lack of self-worth. The Stoic principle of self-respect, central to developing an iron mind, tells us that value doesn't come from pleasing others, but from standing strong in our own values and boundaries. Let's dig deeper into this paradox. In today's world, men are constantly told to open up, be more emotional, to treat her like a princess, to make her the priority. You've probably heard it 1,000 times. Be the nice guy, be available, put her first. But here's the kicker. When you follow that script, guess what happens? She gets bored. She loses interest. She tells you, "You're too nice. You're like a brother to me. You're always there." You bend over backwards trying to please, yet she's slipping through your fingers like sand. Why is that? Is it just bad luck? Is she just broken? Or is there something more at play here? Something hidden deep in human psychology, in biology, in attraction itself? The truth is, men who value themselves and don't revolve their world around a woman are infinitely more attractive. Women are drawn to the man who has his own life, his own passions, and is not afraid to make his needs known. It's the old Stoic wisdom in action. You see, Stoicism teaches us that by embracing inner strength, focusing on self-mastery, and living by principles that transcend emotional whims, we create a solid foundation of confidence and value. When a man has an iron mind, he is unshakable, unbothered by fleeting emotions or approval-seeking behaviours. This doesn't mean being cold or indifferent. It means knowing your worth and never compromising it for the sake of attention. You don't need to chase anyone. Instead, focus on what you can control: your own growth. The Stoic principles of discipline and wisdom tell us that true attraction is not about bending over backwards to please. It's about staying grounded in your own purpose and letting others come to you. When you stop making her the center of your world, when you begin to respect yourself and set clear boundaries, she'll see the value in you that she's never noticed before. That's the secret. Now, don't get me wrong. Women don't want to be treated badly, but they are irresistibly attracted to men who know their own worth, who don't need validation from them to feel complete. When you become the man who isn't swayed by their approval or rejection, that's when their interest spikes. That's when you stop being a brother and become someone they truly desire. It's not about playing games. It's about embodying the timeless wisdom of the Stoics. Become the man who doesn't need to chase, because he already has everything he needs within himself. Women aren't looking for a man who gives them everything. They're looking for a man who has something of his own. And when you understand that, you'll stop wasting your time and energy chasing and start attracting her instead. So here's the bottom line. Don't be the man who chases, who pleases, who bends over backwards. Be the man who walks his own path with strength, purpose, and confidence. Be the man who values himself, not the one who seeks validation. The Stoic principles of self-respect, inner strength, and self-control are the keys to unlocking true attraction. You must stop chasing and start living by the values that make you strong and untouchable. Only then will she begin to see the man she truly desires. 2. Why women are attracted to uncertainty, not certainty. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The man who doesn't need her attention becomes the most valuable man in the room. Let that sink in for a moment. Now, don't misinterpret this. This isn't about playing mind games or being emotionally unavailable. It's not about becoming a jerk. It's about one key factor: value perception. You see, women are biologically wired to be drawn to strength, mystery, and self-sufficiency, not neediness, not over-explaining, not insecurity disguised as love. In other words, practical stoicism and emotional control are your best allies. When you act as though you've already won her over before she's even earned your attention, something strange happens. She loses interest. It's like offering someone a prize that requires no effort to claim. The excitement fades. She feels in control. And when certainty becomes too predictable, attraction starts to slip away. Women crave that uncertainty, that challenge. If you want to understand this from a Stoic perspective, think of it as maintaining your emotional independence. You aren't waiting for approval. You stand firm in your own value. It's important to recognize a hard truth here. Most men today are conditioned to please. Society tells them that if they show enough affection, they'll win the woman's heart. But women, they aren't looking for someone to adore them at the drop of a hat. They want to earn a place in someone's life, not just be handed it. They don't want a caretaker. They want a man who pushes them, makes them feel alive, makes them feel that spark of challenge. That's what ignites attraction. Not comfort, not routine, and certainly not passive admiration. There's a brutal psychological insight to consider when a woman knows she has completely won you. When she knows she has you figured out, she begins to lose respect for you. It's a harsh truth, but one that can't be ignored. Even if she enjoys the attention, even if she revels in the validation, the respect begins to fade once she has the upper hand. That's the moment when the allure begins to fade. Attraction isn't logical. It's primal. It's emotional. It doesn't play by your rules. Think about this: the man who treats her like an option, who doesn't constantly chase her, who is not emotionally needy, and who stands firm in his Stoic rules, often becomes the one she's drawn to the most. He's unpredictable, he's self-sufficient, and he doesn't cater to her whims. Meanwhile, the man who makes her his priority, the one who puts her on a pedestal and shows endless devotion, often becomes invisible. He's simply too predictable, too accessible. There's no challenge there. There's no mystery. But let me clarify once again. This isn't about playing games or pretending to be something you're not. This is about understanding polarity and attraction. The masculine energy attracts the feminine, not by seeking validation, not by begging for attention, but by standing rooted in purpose. Purpose is the foundation of Stoicism. Practical Stoicism teaches you to stand tall in your identity and not let external forces sway you. That's what draws people to you, especially women. It's not about seeking approval, it's about knowing your worth and walking in that knowledge without needing constant affirmation. When you treat her like an option, you become valuable. When you treat her like a priority, you lose that edge. In the world of relationships, uncertainty is attractive because it fuels the desire to earn something. It fuels the chase. Women are not looking for a man who is emotionally needy or desperate for their attention. They're looking for a man who stands tall, doesn't bend to their every whim, and remains unwavering in his purpose. They want to know that he's not just waiting around for them. They want to know that they have to work for his affection, that his attention is a privilege, not a guarantee. So, remember, this be the man who doesn't need her. Be the one who lives by Stoic rules, a man of self-control, purpose, and mystery. Be the one who is comfortable with uncertainty, because that's the secret to lasting attraction. 3. The secret to gaining her respect. Setting boundaries and valuing yourself. To master the art of respect and attraction, a man must understand one crucial truth. Women are not drawn to men who fall over themselves to please them. This does not mean you should become cold or distant, nor should you play games. It means that you must first and foremost value yourself, respect yourself, and set boundaries that reflect your worth. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, said, "No man is free who is not master of himself," and this principle holds true in relationships. If a man gives himself away too easily, emotionally, sexually, or mentally, without first determining whether the woman is truly worthy, he flips the natural polarity. He goes from being the prize to the chaser. And women do not chase men. Women may say they want loyalty and kindness, but their actions reveal a deeper truth. They respond to challenge. They respond to mystery. They respond to men who are difficult to fully grasp. They respond to men who make them feel uncertain, not insecure, but challenged. Women are attracted to men who don't give everything away immediately. They crave the man who holds his ground, who isn't easily distracted from his purpose. It's a tough pill to swallow, but it's the harsh reality you must accept if you wish to succeed in your relationships. You must stop being the man who chases love, the one who gives everything hoping for a return. Instead, be the man who holds his value firmly, knowing that love, respect, and loyalty must be earned, not freely given. This is where Stoicism wins. The Stoics understood that life is not about seeking external validation, but about mastering oneself and one's purpose. They didn't seek approval, they lived by their own standards. And when you begin to value yourself, when you place yourself first, when you invest in your own growth and purpose, something shifts. Women notice it, they respect it, they are drawn to it. This isn't manipulation or playing hard to get. This is you being the best version of yourself, focusing on your own life, your own growth, and your own principles. When you are centered in your own purpose and identity, others, including women, will naturally be attracted to that power. Remember, as Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. If you give away your emotions, your time, your energy, without regard for whether she has earned it, you rob yourself of your own value. You must be discerning, not only about the woman, but about yourself. What are you willing to tolerate? What are you not willing to compromise on? When you become a man who values his own worth above all else, women will see that strength and be drawn to it. So, let's be clear, stop chasing love, stop seeking validation from women, focus on yourself, work on becoming the man who holds his value, who understands that respect must be earned. That's when you'll truly win. The truth is, women don't want men who don't value them. They want men who don't overvalue them before it's earned. This is Stoicism in practice. master yourself, and you will master life. This is how you win in the game of attraction and respect. The only way forward is to become the man who doesn't need to chase, but instead stands firm, knowing his worth and expecting the same from those he allows into his life. If you found this valuable, comment below, and share it with someone who could benefit from this wisdom. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights into relationships and self-growth. Comment to remember: I am a man who values himself first and never settles for less than I deserve. 4. Women are attracted to power, not just love. Let's break the illusion down. Being a nice guy doesn't make you desirable. It makes you invisible. I know. This might sting a little, especially if you've been taught to believe that kindness, always being polite, and being readily available are the surefire ways to a woman's heart. But here's the hard truth that no one dared to tell you: it's not enough to be nice. And, in many cases, it's exactly why you end up getting overlooked, ignored, or easily replaced. The reality is, being a good man, one who's loyal, empathetic, and respectful, isn't the issue here. In fact, these are the traits of a high-value man. But when you slip into the nice guy trap, the one who's constantly trying to please, who never dares to disagree, who bends over backward for a woman he barely knows, you stop being strong. You start looking desperate. And let's get this straight. Desperation is repulsive, while certainty, that's magnetic. Think about it. The guy who texts her good morning every single day, even though she barely responds. The guy who showers her with gifts, even though they haven't even gone on a real date. The guy who says yes to every little favour, always willing to drop everything and drive across town at 11 p.m. just because she asks. Sure, she might smile and say, "You're sweet," but underneath, the truth is she's starting to lose interest with every move you make. You're not being nice, you're being needy. And that's not attractive. What you're actually showing her, whether you realise it or not, is that you're willing to do anything to get her affection without her even having to earn it. In her eyes, your value drops with every act of blind devotion. You're essentially trying to buy her love, and that's where you lose. Let's bring in some old Stoic wisdom. Here it's time to wake up and realise that women, like anyone else, are drawn to power, not just love. The Stoics believed in mastering oneself, not bending to the whims of others. They understood that true attraction isn't about desperation. It's about having an iron mind, a sense of self-worth that doesn't fluctuate with the attention or affection of others. If you live by the Stoic principles, you'll understand that your value isn't determined by how much you give away or how much you bend to someone's whims. It's based on your inner strength, your clarity of mind, and your ability to stand firm in your own beliefs and desires. You must never let desperation drive your actions, because when you do, you only project weakness, not power. Now, don't get this twisted. Being kind, loyal, and empathetic are all great qualities, and they certainly have their place. But these traits, when coupled with desperation, lose their charm. Women want a man who can stand on his own, who doesn't need their validation to feel good about himself. And this is where the iron mind comes in, where you stop basing your worth on how much someone else values you. When you are genuinely high value, you don't need to bend over backward for someone to notice you. You don't go out of your way to prove your worth. The real power is in your calm confidence, in the fact that you know your own value and you won't chase someone who doesn't see it. Attraction is about power, not just love. It's about who you are when no one is watching, how you hold your ground when things get tough. It's about knowing that you deserve respect and only giving your time and energy to people who can meet you at that level. So, step into your power. Develop an iron mind. Embrace Stoic principles and understand that desperation is the enemy. Be certain of who you are, and the right people, especially women, will see that strength and gravitate towards you. Don't settle for being nice. Be the man who knows his value, lives by it, and doesn't bend for anyone. That's how you become truly attractive. 5. Why validation makes you weak. The importance of self-worth. Gentlemen, Here, this seeking validation from others makes you weak. It screams that you don't have options. It says you'll settle for anyone who gives you attention, even if they don't truly deserve it. That's not attraction, that's pity. And pity isn't what ignites desire. To understand this, let's step into the real world. Let's talk about David. David was the perfect gentleman, the kind of man who always holds the door open, showers her with compliments, and tells her she's beautiful at every possible moment. David would cancel his plans with friends just to spend time with her. He would send long, heartfelt texts about how special she was, despite not even being in a committed relationship yet. At first, she smiled. She told him he was so different from all the other guys, that he was refreshing. But then, something strange happened. 2 weeks later, she stopped responding. David, confused and hurt, reached out to ask what had gone wrong, and she said, "You're just too nice. I need space." David was floored. How could being kind and respectful drive her away? What happened? Why had his good intentions gone unnoticed? Here's the cold truth he didn't realize. He handed her everything without her having to earn it. There was no mystery, no challenge, no intrigue. She didn't have to prove anything to him to get his attention or affection, and that's a problem. The danger of offering everything too soon. Women, contrary to what many believe, don't want men who give their heart away on a silver platter without any resistance. It's not about the gifts or the grand gestures. It's about the value of what's being offered. The attraction isn't in giving endlessly. It's in giving thoughtfully, from a place of inner strength and confidence. If your attention is given away too freely, it becomes insignificant. What comes too easily is often taken for granted. Think about it when something is handed to you without any effort. Does it hold the same weight? Of course not. That's why women are drawn to men who know their worth. A man who values himself doesn't chase validation. He already understands his value. And this, my friend, is the foundation of attraction. What is true attraction? True attraction comes from a man who is not desperate for approval, not seeking to prove himself through over-the-top acts of kindness. He is a man who is self-sufficient, who knows he has options, and who refuses to settle. This is where Stoic rules come into play. A Stoic man doesn't fear rejection because his value isn't tied to others' opinions. He remains grounded and secure, knowing that his worth comes from within, not from external validation. This is a lesson in practical Stoicism. You must learn to give affection not out of fear of losing someone, but because you genuinely want to. You give from a place of strength, not from desperation. You must learn to value your time, your attention, and yourself more than anyone else could ever do. This is wisdom, the path of wisdom, and it leads to respect, both for yourself and from others. Self-worth is your superpower. So, what's the secret? It's simple: value yourself first. Don't beg for someone's attention or approval. Don't bend over backward to please someone who doesn't even respect themselves. That's not how you build attraction. You must build yourself up with self-respect and inner strength. This is the key to knowing how to balance the desire for affection without losing yourself in the process. When you are a man who knows his worth, you don't chase after validation. You don't constantly seek approval because you already understand that you are enough. That is the power of self-worth. And women respect that. They are drawn to men who stand tall in their own shoes, not because they're perfect, but because they are confident in their imperfections. Don't be the guy who needs validation. Don't be the man who always needs validation. Don't be the man who gives everything away to a woman who hasn't even earned it. Don't be David. Instead, be the man who gives because he wants to, not because he fears being alone. Be the man who knows his worth and understands that true attraction lies in maintaining that worth without compromising. In the end, what women crave is not a man who constantly seeks their approval, but a man who doesn't need it to feel whole. Be a man who follows the paths of wisdom, who lives by the Stoic rules, and who remains steadfast in his own self-respect. When you do that, you will become the kind of man who others want to be with, not because you seek attention, but because you have mastered the art of valuing yourself. That is the ultimate form of attraction. 6. The power of self-sufficiency. Why she values independence over dependence. You must understand this one essential truth. Women are drawn to men who are self-sufficient, not men who need constant validation, comfort, or emotional fulfillment from others. The more you rely on her for your happiness or sense of worth, the more you expose your weaknesses, and the less attractive you become. She begins to see you as emotionally needy, and that repels her. Stoic philosophy teaches us that real strength comes from within. As Epictetus famously said, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. This is the core of what you must embody. Independence. Focus on your own goals, your own growth, your own happiness, and suddenly you will find yourself more attractive than ever. When you stand on your own, when you possess a life of purpose and direction, you are no longer the one who needs saving. You become the one who provides something valuable in return. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Epictetus once said, "This is not a mere quote, it is a call to action." You must embrace this philosophy and walk in the direction of self-sufficiency, not only in material things but emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. Let me make this clear. She doesn't want to rescue you. She wants to respect you. She wants a man who can navigate life with strength, purpose, and self-respect. Women are deeply attracted to men who exude confidence because they know what they want. And they're not looking for someone else to make them whole. The moment you prioritize your own life, your own mission, your own path, then you become a powerful force. She will start to wonder if she deserves to be part of your world, not the other way around. When you stop chasing, you become magnetic. The best relationships are those where both partners offer something significant. You cannot offer that if you are constantly seeking validation from her. Your independence and your self-sufficiency signal a deep internal strength that she can't help but admire. Remember, it's not about being distant or disconnected emotionally. It's about having your own life, one that's full of passion and meaning, a life that commands respect because it reflects your own self-worth. When you commit to your own purpose, when you dedicate yourself to your own growth and well-being, everything changes. This is the essence of Stoicism. This is how you win at life. The power of self-sufficiency is undeniable. He who is brave is free, said Seneca, and freedom comes from within. Understand this now. Stop relying on her or anyone else to feel whole. Build your own foundation of happiness, self-worth, and success. When you do this, the world, especially her, will take notice. Your power will no longer be up for negotiation. You must learn to stand strong, knowing your value and not bending to anyone's expectations. Your focus should be on becoming the best version of yourself. This is the man women find irresistible. This is the man who understands the deep wisdom of Stoic thought. Embrace it. Win with it. Your life and your relationships will never be the same. And if you find today's content very interesting, please give me a word of encouragement by commenting "very interesting" in the comments section. That is a huge motivation for us. Thank you. 7. The importance of challenge. How to keep her pursuing you? Women are naturally drawn to challenge. But here's the thing, it's not about playing games or causing unnecessary drama. It's about keeping a healthy level of unpredictability alive, a subtle yet undeniable tension that ensures she remains emotionally invested. The power lies in this one simple concept: you must never make it too easy for her to capture your attention. When a woman feels she has to work for your affection, she is driven to invest more of herself emotionally, mentally, and even physically. This isn't about being distant or indifferent, but rather about showing that you have a life beyond her, one filled with personal goals, strong boundaries, and a deep sense of self-worth. It is a part of the Old Stoic wisdom that truly separates the men who command respect from those who simply receive it. You must maintain an iron mind, a sense of unshakable purpose, ensuring your time is treated as a precious commodity. Don't just give it away freely. Set the tone with every interaction, whether it's holding strong to your boundaries or demonstrating that you're not willing to sacrifice your values for her approval. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be elusive or completely out of reach. Far from it. But you must consistently show that while she is important, you are also important, that your life, goals, and principles stand strong, regardless of what she might desire. And here's where the Stoic principles truly shine: resilience and self-control. The more you remain grounded in your values, the more she'll respect you, the more she'll desire you. You see, the challenge you present is the spark that keeps the connection alive. This is not a trivial matter. It is the very core of what draws someone deeper into your world. Women are wired to seek that emotional challenge, not out of insecurity, but because the chase, the pursuit of something worth earning, is in their nature. The real challenge here is to remain consistent in your presence and never fall into the trap of thinking you must always give in to her whims to earn her love. If you want her to keep pursuing you, you must show her that you have your own life, your own purpose, and that you are unshaken in your resolve. Remember this: it's never about being unavailable or indifferent. It's about maintaining an aura of mystery and depth. Something that the Old Stoic wisdom teaches is the true path to mastering your own emotional world. Don't be afraid to stand firm in your own identity. And don't sacrifice your own happiness for the sake of pleasing someone else. You must have an iron mind, one that understands the value of challenge and how it keeps things alive. Keep her wondering, keep her on her toes, and in doing so, you will create a magnetic force she won't be able to resist. Challenge is the key that makes her pursue you. Embrace it, and you will see her desire for you grow. Be the man who knows his worth, who values his time, and who understands that love is not about surrendering to another, but about building a dynamic of mutual respect and challenge. 8. Why playing the nice guy role will only lead to frustration? Men. Here's a hard truth: kindness alone won't win you the attention and admiration you crave. Sure, kindness is vital in any relationship, but if you're playing the role of the nice guy, consistently putting others' needs before your own, sacrificing your values, and constantly seeking validation, you're digging your own grave in the game of attraction. You might think you're being noble or selfless, but here's the thing: this behavior doesn't get you anywhere. It only gets you stuck in frustration. Let's start with the basics. When you're too nice, you risk coming across as weak, predictable, and passive. And trust me, women can see right through it. They don't want a man who is constantly appeasing them. They want someone who stands firm, someone who has the confidence and strength to hold their ground, someone who can assert themselves without fear. The nice guy's big mistake is this: he assumes that being kind will be enough. This mindset completely disregards the fact that attraction is deeply rooted in confidence and strength, not compliance and eagerness to please. When you become too focused on always being the one who sacrifices, you're sending the wrong message. You're telling her that you don't have a spine, that you'll bend to any whim to keep the peace. Women need to feel secure with someone who is independent and assertive, not someone who constantly submits. Think about it. Would you be attracted to a man who lacks his own voice? Of course not. Women feel the same way. Playing the nice guy role may seem like the easier path, but it's not the path of wisdom. It's a shortcut to frustration. To truly embrace the Stoic rules, you must understand that kindness should never come at the cost of your self-respect. Practical Stoicism teaches us that we must act with purpose, not out of fear or the need to appease others. True strength doesn't bend. It stands firm, guided by inner values, clear boundaries, and the ability to say no when necessary. This is the kind of man women are drawn to, someone who knows his worth and isn't afraid to show it. The nice guy's approach often falls into the trap of seeking validation through his actions rather than his character. This is where the real damage happens. Women are not attracted to neediness. The more you try to gain their affection by being overly accommodating, the more you look like a man who needs them to validate his worth. That is a turn-off, plain and simple. Women are not looking for someone who constantly serves their needs in exchange for their attention. What they're looking for is someone who has a purpose and a sense of independence, someone who can stand by his beliefs no matter what. So, let's get real. The path to building genuine attraction doesn't lie in sacrificing your values or compromising your integrity. Instead, Be kind, but make sure your kindness comes from a place of strength and self-respect. You don't need to abandon your integrity to be compassionate. You must lead by example. Let your actions reflect your values. Let your kindness be rooted in a foundation of self-respect, and only then will your efforts truly resonate. Remember this: women don't want a man who's afraid to stand up for himself or speak his mind. They don't want someone who bends to their every desire. Be the man who can walk away from a situation that doesn't honor his values. That is the path of wisdom. To wrap it up, stop being the guy who bends over backwards for validation. That is a dead-end street. Instead, cultivate a life where your kindness and your actions are a reflection of the Stoic rules of strength, independence, and the wisdom to know when to give and when to stand firm. You must embrace practical stoicism. Your life should be guided by values that make you feel proud of yourself, values that women will respect and be drawn to. When you stand tall in your own truth, others will naturally follow, and that is where real attraction begins. 9. Emotional stability. Why women are drawn to calm and composed men. In life, as in love, emotional stability is one of the most compelling traits a man can possess. Women gravitate toward men who remain unshaken in the face of chaos, who maintain their calm no matter how stressful the situation. Men who lose control, become overwhelmed, or act impulsively are seen as weak. Emotional instability breeds uncertainty, which is a major turn-off. In contrast, calm and composed men radiate strength and reliability, qualities that make them more attractive. As Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Women seek security and trust in a relationship, and a man who can handle stress and adversity with grace and poise provides that. You must show her you are a rock, unmovable in a storm, someone who can face challenges without fear or panic. This doesn't mean bottling up your emotions, but responding thoughtfully with emotional intelligence and control. A man who can remain grounded in difficult circumstances exudes power and stability. In today's world, where everything moves fast and unpredictably, a man who remains calm, who has mastered his emotions, stands out. Let this be a lesson. He who is not a good servant will not be a good master. You must first master yourself to master life and attract those who see your true worth. Never forget that women want a man who is unflappable, who isn't ruled by his emotions, but rather has command over them. This sense of control is magnetic. Be a man who knows how to win his own mind and emotions, and you will win her heart. Stoicism teaches us that the greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it. Skillful pilots gain their reputation from storms and tempests. It's not in easy times, but in adversity, that a man's true nature is tested. Rise above. Women will only be attracted to men who don't need to seek validation or approval, who have the internal strength to remain poised. So, stop seeking external validation. Stop letting life dictate your emotions. You must take charge and control the narrative. Emotional stability is key. When you exude calmness, strength, and self-reliance, you give her the assurance she craves. That's when you start winning in life. When you achieve this, you'll find that you've unlocked the secret to success with women. Master this skill, and the world will become yours. All right, gentlemen, I hope you're feeling the impact of this message. As we wrap up, I just want to say, never forget that the most powerful thing you can do is be fully yourself, whole, complete, and unaffected by someone else's validation. When you stop chasing and start choosing yourself first, everything changes. Remember, it's not about overgiving or trying to prove your worth. It's about having the courage to stand firm in your own value. So, if this hit home, reflect on it. Ask yourself how you can reclaim your energy, your time, and your purpose. And if you're stuck or feeling lost, trust me, shift your focus inward, and that will be the key to everything. If you're struggling with this, I want you to drop a comment below. Let's talk about your journey. Let me know what's been holding you back and how you're planning to change it. I read every comment, and I'm here for you. We're in this together. and I'll always make time to respond to those who are being real and vulnerable. This isn't about shaming anyone. It's about waking up and realizing your worth. So now the question is, are you ready to stop chasing and start becoming the man she can't ignore? Thanks for watching. Stay strong, stay focused, and I'll see you in the next video.